Rough day.
You have no idea.
Let's talk about it.
Being a woman has its advantages, but it's not an easy ride. Balancing careers, relationships, motherhood, family, and life can be quite the challenge. Sometimes you have to be a lady, and sometimes you gotta be a broad. Welcome to the Two Broads from Boca, the place where we talk about all the things you think about but don't say out loud.
Hello and good evening. We're back. It's Monday and it's not a holiday and we're back. And we're very dewy this evening. And the reason why we're dewy, because she doesn't like the word moist, but we are moist as well, is our air conditioning in the studio is, and we're a little off because we're having two guests, so that's why we're all kind of crunched in this corner. We have no air conditioning. It's really hot. It's really, really hot. Do you hear the background noise of whatever they're doing with the air
Not to mention
conditioning?
it's like 100 degrees outside
And
today,
this is basically Dante's Inferno. So we're looking a little dewy today because of that. So that's what's going on. We have a lot to talk about. We've been gone for a week for our Memorial Day vacation, a little day off. It was lovely. Not really. Was it lovely?
No, poured.
Yeah,
we went from one extreme to the other.
Kind of sucked. But we are here and we're happy to be back. So there you go. We are going to talk about a few things that are going on in the news today. But I would like to tell you about my peacock story. There's a loose peacock in the neighborhood, and it's going on this poor woman's patio and pooping all over her patio. So she's got peacock poop on her patio, and she texted the neighborhood. We have like a neighborhood kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I said I'd take the peacock.
No.
I gotta not take the peacock.
Say no. Just say no.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take this up. But he's so pretty.
They're beautiful, but they're a pain in the butt.
What do they do?
Poop. Make a lot of noise. They're noisy.
Are they
I used to have them in my old neighborhood. I mean,
really?
I didn't take care of
So
them,
beautiful.
but they used to walk, and I used to like watching them from the window.
What do
like,
you feed a
look how
peacock?
pretty they are.
What do you feed a peacock?
I have no idea. I never fed one.
Yeah, I live in Parkland right now because we're trying to leave to come back to Boca, and there's a lot of animals.
You don't need another job. That's
because I don't
number
have
one.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But anyway, let's talk about what's going on in the news. I want to talk about. Did you hear about? First of all, let's talk about it's Pride Month. So happy Pride Month to all our friends. And I'm very happy about that. But it was an interesting discussion on Facebook the other day. A friend of mine's child celebrates Pride Month, and this woman went on her page and berated her and her child and the other children that were involved about their who they are. And I was insane, and I was not kind. Some
people just can't keep scrolling.
Yeah, it's none of your business.
If you don't like it, you disagree with it, you don't need to comment.
Why would somebody do that?
Scroll on.
That's a child.
I know.
Why would you do that to anybody, but particularly a child? So I take exception to that.
Evil.
So happy Pride, peeps. We love you. So let's talk about gender fluidness now. In New York City, apparently the mayor of New York City has decided that on birth certificates there's going to be 3 boxes: male, female, and X. Because if you're gender fluid. No problem with you being gender fluid, but I don't think a newborn knows whether they're gender fluid or not. And I don't think a parent should make that choice for a child. Opinion or discussion?
I agree with you. I mean,
let's discuss among ourselves.
If you give birth to a girl, as much as you want the baby to be a boy, you still have to check the gender as a girl at birth.
See, I am...
especially in your profession, medically...
Being a medical
you would have to know...
And a scientist.
What reproductive organs...
No, I just think
I don't understand that. The choice is, yes, the child's later, if they want to change that, but at birth...
You are what you are.
You are female or male.
A lot of people feel that there's more than 2 genders. I disagree with that.
What do you mean more than 2?
Some people feel that there's like 106 different types of genders. I don't think how you identify or how you see yourself is the same thing as your gender.
Right.
If you're a boy, you're a boy, and if you're a girl, you're a girl.
Correct.
And if I get a lot of shit for that, I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. And you're entitled to your opinion. I think you can
identify with whatever you want.
Do you know
what that opens the door up to?
Tell me.
even just thinking lawsuits, we're already a litigious society.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that on your birth certificate it says that you were born a girl, but you're registered as a
Gender fluid.
as a gender fluid, and they treat you incorrectly medically for something? How would the hospital, the doctor, everybody say?
Well, I mean, that has happened to me.
don't
Upon
get it.
examination, I have assumed, because my patient said that they were female, and when I met them, they appeared to be female. They had breasts and everything, and then when we got down to the
Full
reproductive
exam,
section,
yeah.
surprise, they were not. So I just feel like, just tell me ahead of time.
Right.
I don't care. I really don't care. I was asking this woman for tips on how to do makeup. The most gorgeous woman I've ever seen. Made RuPaul look like, a vagrant. But I have to be honest, I don't care what you are. I don't care who you love. Have at it. Just, give me the heads up.
Right.
Medically, I just
agree
need to
with
kind of
that.
know that.
Yes.
Because we do a different exam in that area.
I can imagine.
So I'm just saying, but just saying. And then we have, I don't know, we're going to touch on the Roseanne subject. That's a touchy subject. I think what she said was disgusting. I really do. However, and I'm going to be the one to say this, and people are going to be pissy, there's no right in what she said. There is no way that you can say it's right. You can't legitimize what she said. No Ambien in the world is going to make you speak that way.
Right.
However, I have seen tweets about other people and
Or seen on television
other things
or radio
and
or whatever
how come
platform.
the backlash doesn't. When you call somebody something, you got to take responsibility for that. Okay, that's just the way it is. And being mean and being hurtful is inappropriate. But when you, and again, calling somebody a racial slur and making somebody feel less than because of who they are is disgusting. But then you can't, it's got to be equal across the board.
Right.
If you can call another person the see you next Tuesday word, which I find equally offensive as a woman, not that it's a racist comment, I'm not saying it's not, but that's offensive too.
Mm-hmm.
Or like with Corey Feldman, when Barbara Walters had him on an interview and said that he was a liar, and she disparaged him and told him that he was not telling the truth, when he, in fact, he was. That was damaging to that man. She didn't lose her job, and nobody went. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel there's a lot of
this is the problem
inequity.
because of everyone saying the thing. Freedom of speech here has been
I think,
abused
freedom of speech
beyond.
is like yelling. If you yell fire and there's no fire, you're not supposed to have that kind of freedom of speech. That's part of the Constitution. You understand that you can't yell or say certain things. And I don't think saying things like that, what's the word I want to say? Would you want to sit here and have, a guy in a hood on talking about how he hates people of color or hates Jews? I'm a Jew, so do you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's not freedom of speech. That's hate.
Yeah, but we're also white privileged too, so.
And I take exception to that as well, and that's a whole other ballgame. I don't like that term. I don't think that that's a fair term.
But that's what I'm saying. Where do you draw the line? There's so many things being said, and it's only one side or the other. That's what's happened. It's
Well, that's
so
the whole thing. I
divided.
think that you can't. Nobody here wants to understand that there's many shades of gray.
Exactly.
And this was not a gray. There was no gray here.
No.
She was way out of line.
Yes.
Way, way out of line. But calling somebody the C word, isn't that out of line? On national,
100%.
international
I
forum.
think so.
Now, when I call her that in our privacy of our own little meeting, that's a whole other ballgame. But no, but I'm just saying, I don't think that what does that accomplish? It's mean. It's hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we all make fun of public figures, and we all know the Cheeto joke because he's orange and stuff like that. Get over yourself. He is a Cheeto. I mean, he looks like a Cheeto, and that's okay. They did that whole thing on Will and Grace, the first episode of their reboot, and they, she was decorating the White House, and they call him. I don't have a problem with that. You can make
They've been
fun.
making fun of presidents forever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When Bush choked on the pretzel. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I laughed my ass off. I thought that was the funniest thing. I mean, it was really, really funny. But that being said, it's in good spirit. You're making fun of somebody and you're trying to, again, they coupled that with that he was not smart and whatever. But I thought it was funny. He choked on a pretzel. It was funny. But ill humor is not funny. Mean humor, mean-spirited humor is not funny. So that is, what do you think there, Blake? Did I say too much, or was I just right on target?
I think you towed that line perfectly.
Towed the line. Now, what I really think, no, but that's the story. And then we have to talk about the Baker and the Colorado situation with the Supreme Court. A lot of people are on the fence with that. Fence. I see fences, picket fences. No, I think, you know what? I think that from what I read, and I don't know the facts because I read everything. I read the Times and I read the New York papers. I read the internet stuff. Apparently, this couple, I didn't even know that they were guys. I thought they were women. That's how out of the loop I am with the story. But this happened in 2012, and the court decision today went in favor of the Baker. I don't know. I mean, I think that yes, you have the right to do and serve who you want to, but I think it's a very fine line. Now, from what I read, this Baker said that he would, he recommended other bakers.
Yes.
And he doesn't even do like Halloween cakes because that's against his religious belief. So, I mean, when I read that, initially I was pissed. I'm like, what kind of person are you? How could you say no? That's disgusting. Love is love. And I believe that. But if he really is not making Halloween cakes, and he's really, and from what I read, he said, I don't care what you are. It's just how I feel. He said, I serve gay people, and I don't know if that's true. But there you go. I don't know. I'm on the fence with this one. I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say about it either, honestly, because
I'll bake anybody a cake.
Right.
I don't have a problem.
It doesn't
with that.
matter to me, but if
and
your
they're very
beliefs
moist,
are that
my
strong, I don't know. But if you're going to own a business and you're serving the community, you're in the service industry,
Right, you got
have
to
to
serve the community.
everybody.
That's
I
what
know.
I'm saying. Because then you could say, like back in the day, well, this is only for people with brown hair, and blondes are not allowed here.
Yeah, I can't do
when
that
does
anymore.
it stop?
Yeah.
So that's my take on that one. So we're just newsworthy today, aren't we? Very moist here today, though. It's so hot.
Don't use
so
moist.
Hot. I like
hate
that word.
word.
I like a moist cupcake, don't you? I do. I enjoy that word. It never bothered me. Duncan Hines used to always say moist and delicious. I never bothered me. No, but because your mind's always in the gutter.
Moist
That's why.
panties, we were saying.
I don't like panties
No.
either. It's perverted.
All right,
It's
now
a
I'm going to say
perverted word.
panties. When you say moist, I'm going to say panties.
You say
How do you like that?
tomato, and I say tomato. No, I don't. Yeah, I don't like. Panties reminds me of. Did your mother ever say that when you were little? Go get your panties.
Yes.
Mine too. I think that's an Italian thing.
My mother always says brows too, and I'm like, Mom, she always say, I have to go get my brows done. I'm like, it's like, it just does something. And I'm like, can you just
Eyebrows,
please
you
say
mean?
eyebrows when you tell me?
Oh.
I don't like the word brows.
Okay, she's a little crazy.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
We
You
already
don't like
established that
you
a
don't
long
like
time
the
ago.
word brow?
No.
I'm sorry. I never used
Eyebrow.
it.
They're eyebrows.
And you get this short term is a brow.
I don't like it.
She's odd. Do you like
See,
the word
there you go. An
eyebrow?
example of something that it's your
I won't say it
way.
to you. I won't say brows then. I'll say eyebrows.
Okay.
Do you say lashes or eyelashes?
That doesn't bother me.
Okay. Just want to clarify. Nuts. We got a nuts here today. But we do have two wonderful, lovely women as our guests today. And they're sitting here melting with us. We have Suki and Allison. Suki. Yeah, I'm not going to say
Yeah,
that.
we can't pronounce it.
But I can say Ford.
Quite
Allison
yet.
Ford, that's easy. Suki will tell her name when she gets back because I don't want to botch it up. It's bad enough I have a Terenzio Schreibman thing going on. That's enough. I used up all the alphabet. I even got a Z in my name. Isn't that sad? Anyway, but that's what's going on. So we'll be back in like 2 with our 2 new guests. And we'll see you in a little bit.
Hey, the two broads from Boca are taking a short break. We hope you're enjoying the show. You can find them here live on Facebook every Monday night at 7 p.m. And if you can't watch, you can hear the two broads on SoundCloud.com. You can also follow the two broads from Boca on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Want to talk about a topic? Leave the two broads your comments on their Facebook page or contact them at 2TWO broadsfromboca@gmail.com. Let's rejoin the two broads from Boca and let's talk about it.
And we are back, and magically we have our two guests here with us today. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself. This is Suki and Allison.
Suki E. Luterio. You can thank my husband for that.
Thank you. That's a big name, sir.
Suki E.
Yeah, and Allison Ford.
Yes.
That's easy.
That's very
My husband gave me
easy.
that too.
I like Fords, actually. So you are here to talk about your Motherhood Rewritten conference. Tell us a little bit about your organization, and you guys are two of the three founders. So let's give a shout out to your other founder.
Anya Weinberg.
Hi, Anya. We're sorry that you're not here today. We don't have the capacity.
You're
to film
probably
for.
much happier watching
Yes,
in the
because
AC.
it's very, very warm here. So tell us a little bit about how this started, when it started, and how you came to this.
So, the three of us founders are from South Florida. We all pretty much, Suki and I are born and raised, and we've been here for forever. And Anya's been here for quite a while herself. We were really wanting to do something.
Wait a second,
for,
you're natives?
Yeah.
I'm
Slow
not. She
grow-
is.
oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say we
Yeah.
were 3 against 1 here.
Where are you
I'm a
from?
native.
I'm from Kenya in East Africa.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, wow, that's
it's a little
interesting.
Yeah.
far from the
I love
Bronx.
that.
But 6 years in South Florida, so I feel
Okay.
connected.
Yeah, Kenya's just a little
Yeah.
west of the
Yeah,
Bronx.
just a
That's
little.
all.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
There's Anya now. Hi, Anya. Oh, she said she could take the heat.
She could take the hit.
And so we started thinking about, what can we do for moms in South Florida? Something that's really bold, something that's really different, and getting moms really just invigorated and feeling like empowered. So I feel like in business, so often we come to conferences, and Suki and I do a lot of speaking along the lines of sales and business, and those conferences are great, and it really rallies the troops, right? Around your business and being a
Sure.
mompreneur and a mom boss, and everyone's like, yeah. But we were like, well, what if we just did that around motherhood, in a way where we were rallying around, almost like we're stepping in businesswomen to our home.
Nice.
And running it like a straight boss, right? Coming in I'm going to take care of me, I'm going to take care of my business, I know the brand of my home, I have great community culture in my home, who are my top resources.
What is your mission statement?
Yes, the whole kit and caboodle. And how can we do it in a way that is just unapologetic? I am taking time for myself. It's a standard. We all do it. It's happening now, right?
So where were you 17 years ago when I needed somebody to tell me this?
Well, you'll come to the conference and you'll get all the tools and tips on really how to take that ownership.
Yeah.
And not only to do that with yourself, but to do that with your tribe, right? With the women around you, because you do need women rallying around to get on the same page with this.
You
right?
definitely need a squad.
For sure. You got to have a squad, and not a commiserating squad, because
No.
there's a really big difference. So, and I think in momhood, we can really fall into this trap where we're all
The bitch and moan sessions.
Yes.
The bitch and moan.
And there's no solutions quite. We all have fun. Everyone's telling their life story, right? And everyone has the same problem as you, so it feels good. But we just stop there.
Right.
And in business, we would never do that, right? We do get it out. We have the session where everything's talked about. What's our plan? How are we going to do this? What's not working?
Right.
But where do we go from here?
Right.
And how are we planning, right? So that's what we really want to do, is kind of marry those two worlds in a way. And this conference is really different because we don't want it to be boring. We don't, because sometimes you sit at conferences, you get
Yes.
bored. It's just when is
Start
the next person going to come up?
drawing. Yeah.
And then maybe this bang speaker comes up and you're like, wow, and they get you up again,
Right.
but then you come right back down to
Exactly.
that comatose. So what we were thinking is, how can we make this a day where people are just like, what's going to happen next? This is incredible. I'm getting so much content, but I'm here, and this is happening. So our conference is theatrical, and it literally runs like a play. No joke, it's original music. We have
Stop it.
I'm not kidding you. It
You
is
gotta go.
hilarious too. We are making so much fun of the whole thing about motherhood. We have an entire Broadway opening with dancers,
Stop it.
singers. No, I'm not kidding you. And basically, it's going through the whole Alice falls down the rabbit hole when a girl gets pregnant, and the whole people that come after you and say, pick my group, you need to be here, you need to do this, you need to do that.
Yes, they
So-
badger you. Yes.
They
We
badger
literally
you.
have mom groups that are like the Lollipop Kids versing one another.
Stop
I'm
it.
not kidding you.
Oh
And
my
it's too
God.
good. It's literally too good. So that's our whole opening. And then every speaker, which is about a TED style talk on
Yes.
different topics about this empowerment in your home, right? Different ways you can do that. has a precursor performance. So every speaker kind of preps you with either a dance, a skit. We have some spoken word, that's going on.
Yeah.
And basically it primes you to like learn that lesson because you feel it emotionally.
I
So,
want to be one of your presenters next year.
yeah, definitely come. We'd love to have you. You guys would kill it because you guys have such a good dynamic together and funny.
the two of you.
And we're like cracking up over there trying to be quiet. But we want it to be really funny. We want to poke fun. We're poking a lot of fun. I mean, it's very satirical. There's a lot of
Poking
satirical
fun. That's
stuff.
right up our alley.
Right up our
Yes.
alley. It's my
We're
whole life.
definitely doing that. We're going to places where it's like, should we go there? Yes, we're going to
Yes.
go there.
Absolutely.
Push that
We're
envelope.
pushing.
Sometimes we push it a little too much, but I enjoy that. I like to be,
We're
I like-
pushing it.
it
We're
pushes.
pushing it.
Well, that's why
Um,
we also wanted to use the word rewritten.
Right.
Yes.
Because the whole thing is, how do you rewrite your journey of motherhood? Like
That's
if you
perfect.
think about your journey, and what would you have wished somebody could sit you down and tell you
God.
before
Well,
it
not
happened?
everybody fits in the
You
same
know?
mold.
Right,
And
but
that's
you
the
don't
thing.
know that, and
You-
I get
you know,
literally
but
still.
You don't have
But
to
I-
live like we're in
Now,
1950
does
and
this have
stay
to-
at home and
right.
cook and
We
you
can,
know.
and we are, I think as mothers, we're constantly rewriting
Yes.
our journeys.
Every
We're
17
constantly
minutes.
figuring.
Yes.
Let me ask you this: is this just for young mothers or an older mother like me?
No, it's for moms really of all age, and really if you have grandkids, because I feel like when you can have a grandkid, you're really freed up to do the work because you don't have all the stress of everything. So like you're even more receptive. I feel like to be such a good resource for your son or your daughter
Yeah, but
who has the.
sometimes they, I'll be honest with you. I don't know about you guys, but like if my in-law, my mother-in-law, or my mother not so much, but if my mother-in-law said something to me,
Mhm.
sometimes it would just like I felt like my back was already up. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right, but we're
Well,
showing
you
you
also
the,
have a
the ways to
situation
get in
though,
with
too,
communication
where
too.
there's a lot of grandparents taking that are the caretakers
The
now.
providers.
Yes.
You know, they're cohabitating because
Yes.
the parents are working
Yes,
and
they're
they're
your
at
top
home.
resource.
And yeah,
Right.
so
They
that's
totally
a good
are.
point. Yeah.
And we're teaching how to communicate in a way that it doesn't make the hairs. So how can we come in a way that is non-threatening, but helpful, right? Because we all want to get to the same place, right? We
Okay.
all want to be. We don't want to be in chaos. We don't want to
No.
be in friction. We don't want to be in fights with people.
No.
Because it's annoying. It's dramatic.
And it takes
just
a lot of
horrible.
time.
It's a
Oh my
waste
God.
of time.
It's
yeah.
a total waste. And really, we're not getting to that. What you're saying is like coming in to really be that resource for the kids. Like, how can we all
Mm-hmm.
come together as a tribe and do this work? And if I have a little mess to clean up because I'm coming in always like demanding with my expectations, you got to clean up your mess,
But I
girl.
think
like,
you and
before
you
you
had.
step
I
in.
want you to know
Right.
that this is not just for mothers. I think that's important that you say
Right.
that because I think the dynamic between a mother and a mother and a father, the geometry of the relationship changes when you throw children in the mix.
Of course.
And I can honestly say, my husband still is very resentful about the time that my children took from me and him.
yeah.
So I mean, he's very nice, but he's still very resentful.
No,
It
that's
just
just
took him
honest to
20
God
years
truth
to
of things.
verbalize
It
that.
is.
But is there an avenue to discuss how?
That's actually my
Her
talk.
topic.
Yeah.
Bless you, girl.
My talk is all about how to partner in a way that is like just flourishing and sexy and
Yes.
and you get to saturate in the love of your kids, but you have a system. You've got things worked out. And I've had to do this the hard way. Me and my husband split for like an entire year. I had a whole come to Jesus
There you go.
moment. It was a breakdown. It was a whole thing. That's a whole nother talk.
Show.
But
Whole other
basically,
show.
We'll come back and
Yes,
no,
you can
because
hear the
I
dirty
understand what you're
details.
saying. Because my husband and I had a difficult time because I never stopped wanting to be that romantic, sexy person,
Yeah.
and he was like, you're with them. I'm like, well,
Right.
because they can't be without me, but
Right.
that doesn't mean we can't have our time. Because I was always ready, like you would
Yes.
just look at me crooked and I'd be okay, let's go.
Oh.
And yeah, I'm that girl. So those
Lucky
years of
man,
Catholic
lucky
school,
man.
but like he really became very resentful of the time.
It's a
with the
delicate
children.
dynamic, right? I mean,
Mhm.
it really is. And I think, like you're saying, it evolves as your kids evolve. And how are you going to evolve that system with them in a way that they can contribute to your community
Right.
and your group, right? So that I always say this: if you're the mom who knows where every shoe is, you got to figure that out, because you can't be the mom who knows where the shoe is all the time.
Right.
You've got to have your family put the closet together with you, so that they're helping you and they know where the freaking shoe is. Because
Exactly. But
you
how
will be the
how do
mom
you
that knows where
undo
the
that if you were always the mom that knew where the shoe was,
Right.
and now you want to throw the shoes at them out the window. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you? Is there a way that you teach us how to change that?
Yeah. For one, you have to communicate that to your top resource, whoever that is. So that could be a grandparent. That could be your husband, your boo, right? The person
Right.
that's got your back, your wife, however your family looks. So that person really needs to know, hey, this has not been working. We did not plan it right, and here's the results of that. And I just want to say I'm sorry. I just want to say and step in and take credit for whatever I added to this situation, and then open up the dialogue with them first and foremost, because that's the person who you need to have your back, and they need to know, I guess, like the entire litany of feelings that went on with that whole dynamic. Because like you're saying, acknowledging your husband feeling that way is really important, I'm sure, for him.
Yeah.
So that you can say, hey, I didn't, this is the
I
thing
didn't know.
Exactly. And it's just human. When you level like that with people, I mean, it does something, because it's not every day someone shows up and says, instead of I'm pissed at you, it's like, you really devastated me. Like, this is how I really felt. So having that first conversation is vital, and then getting on a plan with them in some capacity of how you're going to change the little behaviors each day to shift it. And then beyond that, communicating that to the entire tribe. So how are we going to communicate this to our kids and not be resentful when we're doing it because we have all this stuff, right?
Threatening is never good either.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, you got to heal that first with whoever the mistake was made with.
Okay.
And that's normally the top resource. And that could be your mom, sister, whoever that is. Those two people got to get on a united front and say, we're just going to forgive. We're going to be okay to forgive. And if this takes 3 months, we're willing to do the work to do that. Hopefully it won't take that long, but it may take a little bit of while to heal that first, and then you're able to go in with the kids with a fresh slate, because they can feel that energy.
Oh, I agree.
They know what that is when people are like side looks, and
Uh-huh.
they know it all.
Yeah.
They know. I always say your kids know your deepest, darkest secrets.
Oh,
girl.
yeah.
They know everything.
If the wolves could
They
talk.
read a tell-all.
It's the truth.
Watch out.
That's what I say, like, actually today's our wedding anniversary, our 7-year wedding anniversary today.
You're rich,
7-year
Suki,
itch.
7-year
But it's
itch.
okay, we've been together since 2003, so we dated for 8
Nothing
years.
like
before we
bringing the
got married.
negative out, Amy. What were we just saying about that?
No, I didn't mean it in a bad way. It's the seven.
What's the 7-year itch?
Like, you're just itching around.
Oh, we're just
No, you start to reevaluate things at 7 years.
else?
You're
Oh
like,
my
all
God.
right, we okay? Is everything good? That's fine.
How about just say congratulations?
No, I did. I'm like, I didn't mean it in a bad way.
It's okay. I think my coworkers already said
Panties.
that to me, so it's fine. Panties. But we constantly communicate, and one of the things I always say is, like, in my mind, I think about alone time. So it's like alone time is important for me. So I need alone time for myself. I was an only child. I'm not used to sharing my time with people. So
Lord,
having a family is like, oh my God, like, I don't have a minute to just be with myself, So if I have to wake up earlier in the day just to give myself like half an hour to just me.
I'm
just
guilty.
zen,
That's what I do.
Yes.
But I also think of like alone time with him. So I think about, okay,
Yes.
when
Yes.
she's asleep, then that's our alone time, and then I spend alone time with just Mishka and I, where we have like conversation. She's 2.5. And then my dog also requires one-on-one. And she was my I always called her my
baby,
first
right.
baby.
Yes.
So
good.
she
You're
requires
good.
alone time too. So I try and divvy up my day where I
Yes.
give them each.
See, now I don't
their
like you
time.
because you look like you're all together.
No, I'm not. I'm only that way because I get that 30 minutes in the morning.
That's
Do you know what I
good.
mean? Or the
Yes.
time I'm driving and I can listen to my affirmations or
All right,
read my
cool. I'm
positive
cool
stuff,
with that. That's very
And that's
cool.
what my talk's about, is being like a Zen mom and how you can juggle, but how it's actually not about juggling. Because the more that you juggle, the less you're actually being
Less
present
Zen,
with
yeah.
one particular person or one particular thing.
And
Yeah.
that
Good
I think
point.
women
Good
have that.
point.
That's the hardest thing.
We
It's
multitask.
too much.
Yeah.
And are you really multitasking, or are you doing
No, I feel
5
like
things poorly?
Just running around in
Putting
circles.
out fires all the
Yeah,
time.
you're putting
That's
out
what I feel.
fires, right?
Yeah.
But if you can be present, and it's like fully present, and I think these phones are the worst things.
The
They
worst.
should be
Nobody is
exploding.
Nobody's present.
I know.
You'll see people like just scrolling at dinner and not talking.
No, well,
to
that's
each
the
other.
whole thing. We make a rule in our family now. No screens at the table. My husband is a critical care physician, and I'm like, if you're on call, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
But if you're not, all the phones go on the counter. I don't want to hear anything.
Well, there's sometimes too, like I'll go somewhere, you're running, and you're on the phone, or you're sitting in the parking lot trying to answer emails or texts, or
Yeah.
sometimes I'll get home and I'll go, I don't even remember leaving where
Right.
I was at.
Yeah,
And
it's
driving.
dangerous. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It
Absolutely.
is.
And
I think it's
I won't
dangerous for
remember
your
a
psyche.
conversation I had with
is.
somebody because I wasn't really concentrating. I
Yeah.
wasn't really in the moment
weren't
at
there.
the time
We're,
when they
we're
were
training for
talking.
autopilot. We're
Yeah.
training ourselves
Yes.
for
But
autopilot.
it's true.
Yeah.
It's such a
The brain's like, I've been here before.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
It's-
why
it's
do you
very-
think they're building those cars? You know, the driverless cars?
Oh.
Because we are on autopilot. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll
I
drive
don't
in
like
South
to-
Florida and everyone's on their phone.
Oh, everyone.
On the highway.
I know.
Yeah.
On
I
the
know.
highway.
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that's the whole thing. I think women feel, and particularly single moms, it's such a hard being a mom to navigate all that.
When you
You
feel
know.
guilty too for taking the time for yourself.
I always,
Guilt is a
I
huge
literally feel
part of it,
super,
I think.
like I don't understand
Yeah.
why when I have to go someplace, it's a simple thing to get my nails done, which is
Mhm.
only twice a month. I literally, my heart is
Yeah,
beating
yeah,
in my chest
I
because
get
I'm like,
anxiety
I
because
have
I'm
to
like,
go.
mm.
They're going
We're
to be doing
taught,
this.
aren't we?
Yeah.
We're taught. This is like
Yeah.
here's motherhood. One, you got to give up your stuff.
Yes.
Number two, you're gonna feel bad about it.
Yes.
Number three, you ain't gonna be with your man anymore how you used to be, so just call that quits.
Yes.
Number four, you had that James say goodbye, honey. Like you're hearing all this stuff, and we
It's
do
always
this
your
in,
fault.
Why
What's
do
we
we
do
another
this
one?
in the show. Literally, we go through this whole litany of like say goodbye, because that's what you get thrust into this thing, and you're like, ooh, this is how the game works, and your friends are going, yeah, it
No, but you know what?
does.
That's
But
that's
it's
a
so
loser game.
rewarding.
Who wants to be?
No
in a-
one. If you had that job
That's
description, you'd be
bullshit.
like,
That it's
hell no.
rewarding when you lose.
Exactly.
It is not rewarding to lose.
It's the worst job description ever, and like yet we buy into it. I think as moms we get swallowed so quickly, and then our friends are going, oh well, that's just the way that it is. You're treading water. You're okay. You're kind of making it, and I literally, if your friends will tell you that,
Yes.
and you're thinking, oh God, okay, well I guess it's just how it is, and you don't think to like question it and think to question all the stuff that you are really giving, which is your space, your time, your energy, maybe your
Your energy,
creativity,
everything.
We have a question.
so many things.
From Eileen. She wants to know, do you ever discuss how to communicate with adult married children who are self-absorbed and disrespectful? Oh, that's a loaded question.
Well, neither of us have adult children. So,
We
but
don't. But I would say if you have, I don't know, Ellen. I'm just gonna say
Eileen.
Eileen. Okay.
No,
Sorry.
it says Ellen.
Oh,
It's
Ellen. Okay. Ellen, and I'm going to say this with as much love as I can to you, my darling. I really am. But what I will say is that if you have a child who, if you feel like they're adult and they're self-absorbed, I think the first step would be
Slap them. No.
Yes, the first step would be slap. No, just kidding. The first step would be to step in and think how that happened and what part you took in that. That is the hardest thing to do, by the
That's
way.
hard to
like
even
if your
say.
kid is acting like a total douche, you do need to, instead of this, you got to go here first and foremost, always.
Check
And it's
yourself.
like it burns, it'll eat at your soul. You don't want to do it, you don't want to be there, but you've got to backtrack and say, how was I present while this was happening, and maybe not stepping in as much as I should. And this is where some of the biggest frictions and guilt as moms come in, because we don't want to turn that corner. We don't want to look down that hallway to go,
I've already told
that
my
could
sons.
be possibly
I
part
feel
to
very bad
what
for
I
your wife.
did.
And I said, it's my
We
fault.
wanna run. We wanna run
Because
from
I
it.
catered to you. I said, and you are not going to get a woman who's going to be like me
Yes.
because they're smart. That's what I tell them all the time.
Well, right, and the ownership is huge. I think if you can really step in with somebody, with your children, and say, oh, this is, I'm so sorry I got this wrong. Now, you may have a child too that you extend a hand to and they slap that hand. That may very well happen. So you
Every day.
might lay your heart out and say, here's my true essence, my true feelings. But the thing is, I think a lot of times as women, we think we're doing that work. We think we're bowing down. We do think we're disconnecting from that ego, so to speak. But we're not, because we're stepping in with all that resentment, all that energy, all that stuff. It's like, I'm saying I'm sorry. Isn't that good enough? You know what I mean? And it's still that energy, like, you're still pissed. You're still mad. You're still holding on to like 50 things that happen. And when we don't heal that energy, that's when breakthroughs cannot happen. We are literally stopping it from happening because we have not done that healing work first. And that work is like the critical crust, and we do that.
Yeah.
You don't do it with your kid, you do it. It's
Yeah.
your work. And that may be the lesson that you've come here to learn. Maybe that was something that for you was part of your dharma, right? You've got to learn this, and maybe you got to learn it a really hard way.
From your child.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is hard because there's emotions tied in, there's a memory, there's a history, there's so many things that are bundled up. So if you're like, well, I'm going to meditate on this for 10 minutes, but it's been 20 years of chaos, it's going to be a little
Longer
longer
than that,
process than
right.
that.
Yeah.
You've got to retrain yourself to step in with letting go of that energy. You've got to retrain yourself to enter into that space and to say, in the end, where do I want to be? Where do I want to be? Where do I want to be? And I think women, and I know I'm guilty of this myself. I was like this with my husband when we were going through things. I would always say the line of like, well, I'm here, aren't I? But you're not, but I wasn't really there. I was there with all my pissiness. I was there with all my resentments. I was there with all my...
Bring it on, sister.
I was there with that. And that stuff was not healed in me.
But that's the whole thing. I think that we tend to get angry
Yeah.
instead of, and hold on to that.
Yeah.
You know, and, well, you did me dirty and now I'm going to make you pay.
Yeah. And that's human nature.
It is. And I think that's critical to get past that.
Well, I think it's
Yeah.
funny.
We're
Something
Italian. It's really hard
Well,
for
something
us.
you guys both said about you both feeling guilty about like that time, taking
yeah.
that time. Well, I used to feel that way a lot too until I rewrote in my mind that if I was, every time I was going to go do something for myself, if I was feeling guilty when I was doing it, then I wasn't really experiencing it. I wasn't really
It's true.
enjoying it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So every time I go do something for me, even something like this is something for me, you know?
Right.
And I'm enjoying it. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying being here. I'm
You're
not feeling
enjoying
guilty
it.
that I'm away from my husband, even on our
Anniversary.
anniversary.
Even though it's the
Even though it's our
anniversary.
anniversary. So, but it's like you have to take that time, and he respects me more now that I
Yeah.
say, like, I'm going to go do this, and he'll be like, oh, blah, 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 why are you leaving me? And I'll say, no, Rob, it's for me. Like,
Right.
I'm doing this for me.
But I think
you know,
that
and I need it.
that is such a powerful thing you just said, because if you love you and respect you, they will too.
Right.
If you come off as a welcome mat, which I had done most of our parenting life,
That's what they expect.
they treat
right?
you like
They
a
treat you that way.
welcome mat.
Yeah.
And not
That-
because they're doing it on purpose. You taught them how to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, unbeknownst to you in most cases too.
Yes.
So maybe you're doing it. It's you know, something that you're doing at a level you're not even recognizing the pattern. You're not even seeing that
Right.
that's what's happening. I see like a lot of moms, for instance, they'll let their kids eat off their plate. They'll let them come in the bathroom, and I'm always telling them like, you're teaching them about space and boundaries right now. So I know it's cute, and like my kids are cute. I want to let them, you know, kind of like eat. My son eats all the time, but like. But this is my food. This is my time.
But I
you
find
don't come in the
a lot
bathroom
of
and do this.
parents,
And
and I
you let
never
it
had a
go.
problem with them coming to sleep in our room, only because I was too tired to get up and play this back and forth
Right.
game every
I'm
night.
still doing it.
But now they walk in our room
Mhm.
without knocking on the door.
See?
And
Yeah.
they walk in our room too. I have to look in the mirror. I'm like, there's 100 mirrors in this house. Why you have to, you know? And that is the thing that it goes between me and my night's sleep. They just feel that they're allowed to come and go as they
It's
please.
space.
Yes.
And I think that's another myth that we hear in motherhood that's total crap, that you've got to give up your space. No, you
No.
don't.
Nope,
And you
that's it.
shouldn't. And you should maintain sacred space for yourself always, no matter who's asking it of you. No matter if it's the cutest kid you've ever saw and you love them and you want to give them everything. No, this is mine. It's sacred. And because you want to teach them that, don't you?
Right.
Yeah, with
Because
others.
if somebody came and asked your kid for that, you would claw their eyes out, right?
Yes, I
Well,
would.
it's
I mean-
respecting boundaries too.
Yeah,
This
right.
is my room. And
Yes.
if you want to come in, you knock. And I would do the same
It-
for
yeah,
them. I mean,
yeah.
we have teenagers, so they are at that point where they feel like their
It's
room
challenging.
is their room and they
Mhm.
want privacy, and I respect that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Right.
I also reserve the right to kick down the door if they're not going to
Absolutely.
open it in because they're under my roof
Right,
and
right.
those are the rules. I
Right.
don't like locked doors. I will always knock on it first.
Me too.
But,
Me too.
you know, but it's reversed too
Yeah.
as a parent.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love the because I have a 2.5-year-old, but I think that respecting her boundaries is just as important as her respecting my
Yes.
Because she's going to learn to respect her friends' boundaries
Exactly.
and not other people's
So I always
homes
talk
and-
to her about what I'm doing, what she can expect, what
Mm-hmm.
she can expect from me. Like, this is the kind of mothering that is really important. And I think it's the kind of mothering we're going to be talking about in the conference.
I can't.
How
And
to
that's learned
explain it.
behavior.
How to
It's
explain
not
it.
innate.
If
I
my
mean,
husband does something for me, I always make sure I say, Kennedy, do you know what your dad just did for me? If I go out to a night and he's with them and he's taking them on the whole week and he's putting his energy for me because he knows I have a big week,
Right.
he'll say, energy's on you this week, babe, I got you. Like, you know, you take this time, you do this, go out. And I always tell my dad, because you know what? She won't notice. She will not notice that her
No.
father's doing that work. So I say, I need you to notice this. She'll go, oh, God, Mom, you're going to tell me? Yes, I'm going to tell you again because I want you to know what a good man does when he's stepping in for you.
Right.
And how he's holding space
See,
for
that's
you, baby.
important.
It's really
Gotta get a good-
important.
And
hubby.
I will tell my kids, you
Yeah.
know, you're lucky that you have a dad that will do this with you
They need
or
to hear it.
care about you this
Mhm.
way. You need to emulate those things. But I also will tell them, this is not how you want to treat your girlfriend or your
Right.
wife.
Yes.
Do not copy that from him.
Yeah.
You know, and I do. I'm very honest with them. I'm very blunt. Like, you know, he's a very nice person, but this is not what you want to
Certain
copy
things,
from
no.
him.
Yeah, the famous line in my house is like, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta say. Like, you know what, this isn't great, we're working on it.
Okay.
We're working
I
on
like
it.
that. Yeah.
And my daughter will say, you know, if she's getting yelled at for something that she's done 5-6 times, all right, I'm working on that.
I like
I'm
that,
working on
though.
that.
Oh, there's another thing I do that is a huge tip. I give myself a mommy time off, and that is when my daughter's having her temper tantrums or whatever it is, I will literally go in the room and I'll be like, "Mommy's taking a time out."
Okay.
I'm putting
Mommy's
myself in
sad. I do. I literally put myself in time out because it's
I
like,
love it.
well, here's the thing. When you're talking
I
about
like
anger,
that.
we always react, right?
Mhm.
So when you react, you're never going to get the desired outcome that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Because you're just reacting. But if you take yourself away, it's the same with emails. People always answer emails immediately,
No,
all
don't
angry.
do that. You need to
right?
think on that.
You need to
Yeah.
give yourself 5 minutes, come back to the email, and then answer.
Sometimes
it,
a day.
You know? Yeah. Sometimes a full day.
Sometimes a day.
But I'll take my glass of wine and I'll be in this room.
Exactly.
I'll come back in a minute. you
No,
know?
I mean-
how often do you do this conference? How often is
This is
that?
the first one.
Oh my
We're
God, it's
launching
gonna be
it
so
for the
exciting.
first year.
Now, will you be doing if? How will you determine how often you will do it after this?
So after this, we're hoping to maybe do it 2 times a year. We like to do it with the same cast, with the same speakers,
Sure,
with the same
sure,
group, because
sure.
obviously if they've learned the roles and everything's already in place, then we kind of want to not do it again.
Right.
So yeah, and then twice a year, and I think the topics would change. So what's really hot, you know, right now in 2018, we're doing one talk. Anya is actually doing it on nature versus technology, how to bring technology in your home in a meaningful way, but also get your kids into nature and really how to
Good.
keep that balance, which is a big topic right now. We're doing how to measure up in motherhood or not measure up, you know, and that's a great talk. So, you know, just the stuff that we see is really trending and really like people want to know the answers to.
Sure.
We tried to put the content in, and we wanted to evolve, obviously. So with
Sure.
the times evolving, we want to make sure the topics evolve, and essentially like the dances and the things like that will kind of evolve with it as well, and how we do the show. I think the more that we run it, we want it to be more like a play. We want it to be a play with content.
Nice.
And to be a total journey that you're taking throughout the entire day. So, you know, we definitely want it to evolve to that place. This year it'll be a lot like that, but I mean, we want it to be big and bold and on like Broadway. Like we want to take it to like this is
God,
the
I'm so
motherhood
excited.
thing,
Yeah,
you know,
we're
to come
even-
to.
I may
So
be
give
able
us
to
the
put
give
you
our
in touch
viewers that information on how they can find out where to go
Yeah,
look
first.
that up.
So they can come onto our website. It's mrewritten.com.
Can
so
you spell it
M-
for everything?
Yeah, www.m
Like in Mary.
Like
yes,
Mom.
like in Mary. Rewritten.com. And when it pulls up, you'll see, you know, Motherhood Rewritten conference. You'll see everything that's on there. They can also follow us at Motherhood Rewritten on Facebook.
Perfect.
And on Instagram.
And on Instagram, and at Motherhood Rewritten South Florida, and that's our private group, so you can kind of
Perfect.
vent in that
Well,
group and no
I'll
one
put it
sees.
in, yeah.
So that's like the more, you know, low key.
And we'll
one.
repost everything on our page as well for
Yeah,
you,
thank you.
as well.
Yeah.
But and how when is the conference?
It's August 4th at the Pompano Beach Cultural Center.
Okay.
And this place is beautiful. It's a beautiful location. It's brand new.
Oh,
It's
nice.
only been there like
1 year.
It's only been there a year.
That
It's
is
it smells
so-
fresh and clean, and it's very modern. Like we wanted a mix of modern and homey because it was really important for us to have the right stage because we didn't want it to be too big or not too small. We wanted we wanted to be who's Goldilocks. We wanted like just right.
Yeah.
So we have the modern aesthetic outside, and it's really unique. It's white. It's like really crisp, and it's just like really
That's
modern.
beautiful.
They have a whole outside that looks over like a patio, and it looks over the whole city. So it's really
Nice.
cool. But then the theater, it just feels
Very
like
theater.
yeah, like you're at like a real
It feels
real
like you're going to a show.
and it's
Yeah.
almost like you're at like a back alley Broadway show.
Yeah.
It's like
Nice.
a small little
Oh,
cozy
love
feel.
it.
I'm
Yeah.
excited.
So
Yeah.
it had both. And
How
that's what
many
we went with
tickets are
them.
going to be available?
Well, we have 392 seats to fill.
Perfect.
Wow.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Big
And
crowd.
we're gonna do
Yeah.
yoga and meditation in the morning,
yeah.
and there's gonna
I
be
really wanna
lunch
go to
involved, and it's the biggest part for me that's so much fun is the community. Like, wouldn't
Absolutely.
it just be awesome, just moms to hang out together, dads are welcome
And not feel
too.
guilty.
and not feel guilty.
And dads are welcome too.
Exactly.
Yes, and dads, buy your women tickets.
Yes.
That's such a good present to get a woman to have, because she'll come home better. I can promise you that. When I talk, I'll get her with you. Believe me.
I'm already
I will
better.
make sure
And
she's
we've
gonna
only
be
been
happier
here for
coming
like
home to
20
me.
Money
minutes.
well invested.
I think
Yes,
so. I'm
yes,
very
men.
excited
You
for
want-
you.
Oh, Anya put the conference.
We'll do it again,
Oh, thank you,
Anya.
Anya.
We'll
Oh,
definitely
good.
do it
Thank
again.
you.
Yes.
Anya, you have to like our page and follow us so that when we talk about you, your name will build up and it'll go right to you.
She will. Anya's like, she knows
She's
like
great.
everybody. She's out. She's
Like she
out.
said,
She literally know. We go out like for like networking stuff, and everybody knows Anya. I'm like, Anya, is there a person you don't know?
What I love about Anya, she's like the classic German mom.
Yes,
she's
she
like
is.
super.
her talk is so funny.
She's cute.
And she's got a great accent. Her son is like, I mean, he speaks German. He came over there. I'm just
He's
like,
so
oh my God, he's
polite.
so impressive. So
You know,
impressive.
he's like 13 years old.
Yeah,
There you go.
Very
That's
bright.
great.
Very bright.
Yeah.
You know what they say about those German girls? They keep a tough, they run a tough,
Oh,
tight
yes,
house.
tight house.
Tight
Yes.
house.
She does.
Like that. Like that in a woman. I do enjoy that. I'm very excited for you girls. I think it's going to be awesome. I really do. If I am in town, I'm usually not in town at that time, but I'm going to try to rearrange it so that I can be in town. I
See if
really
you can
want to go
come.
to this.
Yeah,
I
it'd be
really,
great.
really do.
You'll
I'm
love
very
it. If you
love it.
like plays, like anyone who likes any kind of play, and you like,
I just
you
like the two of you. I
dancing
think it's
or
gonna be
anything like
awesome.
that. Oh, thank you. But if you like any kind of entertainment like that, you're
Yeah.
gonna love it. And some people are really into dance and plays, and they love just being entertained. So we really wanted to hit those people because, like, that's for me. Like, I love to go to a conference. Someone's
She's
like,
a
"There's
dancer.
dancers." I'm like, I'm there. I
Yeah.
want to see it. You know, and we have beautiful lyrical dancers. Like, I mean, they're so good. Like the stuff that we're
This
working
is
on
so
is amazing.
exciting.
Yeah.
Well,
and
it's
the talks
also
are amazing
important too for the people that have the guilt, can't disconnect.
Yeah.
Yes.
If your mind is that occupied and you're looking at things that you love constantly versus somebody standing at a podium and talking like we were saying,
Yeah, it hits.
you're going to engage and you're
Yeah.
going to start to let go of
And
everything
remember-
outside of where you are,
Yes.
which
So
is what
true.
I love about it. That was phenomenal. Bravo to you for
Yes.
coming up with
This
that.
is
That's
going
a
to
great
be
idea.
awesome. I'm telling you, it's going
Yeah.
to be awesome.
We're excited. The table reads are like, it's just it's so cool. I love the theatrical part. I'm
And
like, that's what I'm
Yes.
This
I
is
love
this
that.
is like I would say that this is Allison's baby, but this is like my surrogate baby
Aw.
because she called me when she first had the idea. I think I was one of the first people she called.
Yeah.
And she told me about it, and I just was like, absolutely, I'm on board 100%.
Yeah.
Aw.
And the synergy that I felt ever since we started, it's just
It's been
It's just
right,
there.
and it's just
Feels
funny because
right.
like Suki and I always felt like we couldn't be more different. Like, I mean, we both teach yoga and stuff. Like, I'm a yogi, but I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm like super. You know, I'm not like.
I'm a namaste.
Yeah, she's like
You could
really
tell.
into that space,
Yeah.
and I'm more like, let's go, let's
Yeah.
get it done, let's go.
Yeah, we could see that.
So our energy is like so
Right?
different, and I always tell people
You're like a reflection of what's going
well,
on.
it's
over
good to
here,
have,
yeah.
and that's what's good to have women like
the
in
balance.
different tribes than you, and I feel like in different energies because when we decided it, Suki goes, so I'm like, okay, this sounds good. Here's the plan. Here's what we're gonna do, and I have everything, but you know, and the marketing, all this stuff. And Suki goes, well, I know this is divine, and I know it's meant to be. Do you know why? Because I just saw a hawk fly by. And I'm like, I need more hawk in my life.
Exactly.
No, but I think it's really important that you stress your squad. My squad is filled with so much. Like I tease, I call her Pocahontas because she would never do the things that I would do, and I would
Right.
never be comfortable doing it. Like she's so comfortable in her own space.
Right.
And then I have another girlfriend. When I got pregnant, she goes, "Well," because I'm a nurse by trade, and she's like, "Well, the plan is, honey, there is no plan, you know." And I'm like, "What do you?" She goes, "You can't plan anything. You got to work around the kid." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "You need to throw all that nursing process out the window." And I'm like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah." So every time I was overwhelmed, I'd call her and go, "The plan is no plan," and I cry, you know. But it's really nice to have really good people in your squad that
It's
are
true.
different.
Yeah, it's so important because they'll teach you so much.
Yeah.
Like even I was thinking like, okay, well I have some stuff down, but then I'm hearing some of their stuff, and just being in the company with the different speakers, I'm like, whoa, like I didn't write that down. Like that, they're saying something good, and so it's great to have people that have very different experiences to you, that approach it from a totally different angle, that would teach you something you would never hear in a
Right.
million years from your little kind of group that you're kind of with, because we do kind of gravitate towards the people who are like us.
But there's
Same.
also a lot of people who don't have a squad.
Yeah.
And that
They're
makes
alone.
me sad.
They have moved to a new city because
Yes.
their husband got a transfer to a new city
Yeah.
for his job.
Yeah.
And they're alone and they don't have a squad. So something like this is great for women who
Find a
maybe
squad.
don't have those people around them but could go to something like this and meet
I was
others.
literally just talking about this right before we came on, and I was saying how, I lived up in Delaware before I came down here, and everything's so small in Delaware. You know each other. It's terrible, but it's good because I knew that if I didn't have bread, I could go to my neighbor's house and
Yeah.
get some bread. You know what
See,
I mean?
that
And
I
South
like.
Florida is
It's
not,
not like
that.
that at all.
If
And-
you're knocking on the door, we're all ducking.
Yeah, and people,
Who is it?
But that's the kind of
scares you,
community, that's the kind of community we're trying to build right now. Is to say that like we are neighbors and
No,
let's
but
come
I have to
together,
tell you, I
and
think
let's,
that's
you know,
important because when I always say to my husband, if it's just the four of us, it's me, my husband, and my two kids. I'm like, who do we call if there's an emergency and we're dead? I said, that's it, we're done.
Yeah.
Then we're just done. But thank God, I have you now.
Get the peacock.
I'll have the peacock. Peacock in panties with brows.
moistness.
with brows.
But I think this is so. I am very stoked for this whole thing. Aren't you excited? I'm
Yeah.
really excited. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
So
great.
next year we're gonna be in your
Yeah, come
Yeah,
on.
we'd love for you guys.
Come
You guys
on
can
in.
do a talk for
Yeah,
sure. We'd
for
love
sure.
to have you.
and
on
we got a
board.
lot to talk about. Trust me.
Well, you can talk us about the teens. 'Cause we
Yeah.
don't know
You
that.
guys would fit it right in with the theatrical, I feel like. I mean,
Yes.
you guys could play off of one another, and that's what we're looking for to when we were looking for speakers. Like, I was like, asking speakers, hey, can you play piano? Can you do this? Can you do that? So one of our speakers, the clutch guy who came on with us, he's
There's
like,
one guy.
he's awesome.
I love it.
He plays piano. His name's David. He's very theatrical. I'm just like, do you just do your whole show up here? Like,
Exactly. Knock
don't
yourself
hold
out.
back.
Right.
If there was any time for you to do like your Just Jack, like just do
Exactly.
it, right? Get on the piano
Jack
and it's your
2000, yeah.
moment. And he
No,
was
I
like,
think that's-
no. I'm like, yes.
That's awesome. No, but I love that you want that. I think that's important because you know what, a lot of women and dads. I have a friend who's a single dad, and he turns it out every day. And his wife passed away when his children were 1 and 3.
Oh, wow.
And he's been raising them on his own. He's had help from in-laws and his parents, but
Right.
he's at the end of the day, it's just him and them. And he would love something like this.
We definitely
Absolutely.
want
This is open
men
for
to come.
everything.
And my talk is very much around how do we bring our men in? How can we do that as women in a way that is not overwhelming them, in a way that we're respecting and understanding how masculinity works and how femininity works, and how we can come together and do that work. And I think in a moment right now, and we were just talking about with one of our sponsors the other day, we went in to go have a chat, and it's like we're having this this moment as women, and it's incredible and it's so powerful, and women are just rallying up.
Yeah.
But we've got to remember about the men in this moment. And I know that's like the buzzkill to
You
say
do.
that, but like, how are we going to get to our sons and our brothers
the
and our
whole
men?
We don't
and
give
our
our men a community. We don't give them a chance to speak.
And we raise
feelings.
boys, and then we raise
Yeah.
them into being men, and then
They
what
can't-
happens?
Yeah,
They can't-
They can't speak.
yeah.
Speak it. They
Yeah,
can't
it's
share.
not good. It's
yeah.
not
and
good.
it's pent up, and it's it's dangerous. As
My
what it
line
It's
is
very
always,
dangerous.
"What happened? We raised them. What did we
Girls
do?"
rule and boys
well, it's funny because I run
Wasn't
women's
that the
circles.
saying growing up?
I run women's circles where we sit and we chat and we talk about our feelings and things like that. So we tried to do one with the guys, and we were like, yeah, you're gonna sit and you're gonna talk about your feelings,
not.
and these guys are
Yeah,
like,
like,
no,
no.
we're not doing that.
I don't have any
So-
feelings. That's what they say.
But, so I think there's a space here though that men can start doing something, but they have to do it their own way. I mean, I don't
Right.
know if it's going to be
We
in
can't make them
sports
be
or-
women.
Right.
No, they do it their
No.
own way. You
Of
know,
course
they don't
not.
Do it, they don't do it.
They
the
can't
way
be women, and we can't expect them to be women.
And we
Yeah.
can't expect to
So
be
they can't
dudes.
enter into space with us because they don't really get this whole thing. It's
No.
foreign to them. It scares them.
Yeah,
They don't know what to
uncomfortable.
do with it. They want to run,
Yeah.
and then we're like, no, come back and now and be just like my friend right now. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
No.
So, and if you've been with a man for 10 minutes, especially if he's more on the masculine side, you know that doesn't work. So how do we invite our men in such a way where they're fine? We're saying you're useful here.
Right.
We need you here, and here's where maybe your role can be. And I think once I stopped fighting that with my husband personally, then I was able to see all of the things he offered, and I was like, damn, like he offers a lot to this situation.
Oh, yeah.
And he's offering a lot to some of the things that I lack as far as like stepping into my business and things like that. And I'm like,
Right.
well, how can I partner with him in a way that's really working for the unit?
I-
And once you see it that way,
I think
things clear
sometimes
up.
men feel like just a paycheck,
Yes, yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
and it's not the case. There's a lot of things that they bring to the table.
So
you
much.
know?
And how do we go in there and not only find that, but but give them the moment of praise when they do, and say thanks for showing up. Like because men really do feed off of that, because they're brought up to be successful and to have this thing where we have our different issues, our whole other thing that we go by, right?
Right.
So when men don't hear us saying, you know, that thing you did or that thing you did last week, like, oh, I appreciate that so much, or just like a touch or something, your man will be like, oh, I did that. You know, he's gonna feel like $1,000,000.
But you
because
know what
came in to
I
do
do
that.
resent? Like, I know, I'll be honest with you, and I'm sure other women feel this way. I feel like I do all this stuff, and then like he'll throw out the garbage, and I have to do like a parade of thanks. That irritates me. That irritates me like panties irritate.
My husband's the same. But I will say one thing I've learned, and my husband is the same way. But did you see I took out the trash? I'm like, oh yes, I saw it. Great, thanks.
Yes. Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
great job.
Yeah.
But one
then-
thing I will say is the I doing all that. That's your choice.
Right,
You're choosing
agreed.
that. So
I
when I
agree.
started realizing that was my choice, then I started talking to him and saying, hey, look, I am doing these things, and I need you to do these things.
Yeah.
That's the way that we can balance this, because like you can't do it all, and that's why I hate the supermom term.
I hate that. I
It's
want to
because
stab
I
people.
want, I don't necessarily want to stab
Yeah.
people because I'm namaste.
I'm nasty.
Amy's
I'm
the
nasty.
opposite.
Stay.
Do they have a name
She'll
for
get
that?
that hawk on you.
Yeah, I need a hawk. I need a hawk.
She said namaste.
I'm a nasty yes to say. But, yeah,
Whatever
no.
anti that is.
I am
that's
whatever,
what you are.
whatever, and the opposite of namaste is me.
Namaste.
Yeah, I'm a,
Yeah, there
But
you
I
go.
just take the stuff and I say, look, I can't do all this because I'm not a super mom. There's no such thing as super mom, and
that's
we
what
will
he'll do
fail.
to me.
We'll fail if you do it
to
yourself.
get like he goes, well, okay, superwoman. I'm like, okay, really?
And we know in the relationships like exactly how to do that,
Oh, yeah,
right?
right-
They
right
know
below
how to,
the knees.
Of
Push
course.
buttons, yeah.
And this is like the great.
Right in the
I mean, it's
JJ.
not great, but it's the dynamic of relationship that's like, man, this person knows me so well.
Right.
Like they just know all this, and like how
buttons
can
to push.
right?
Yeah.
And if I could just shift that into maybe like the good things that are happening with us, and the stuff that is really cute between us is like only a little joke that we would know,
Right.
or those things, like those are kind of amplifying once I think you get a routine and you do speak up and to say, I need help here, can you step in here? And then you do have to, and I know it sucks because I always say this to women, like you've got to keep extending that hand, and one day he'll show up, I promise. But we've got to really lead to do that work, especially if you're the one who's the top communicator in your house. It is your job.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm saying you think.
Debbie said that's what kids are for.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean that's true though. I mean I always admire households, and I hope that I will be able to get to that household in my house too. But where the kids are helping with the duties as well,
Oh,
They have to.
and it's like
I have
they
the
all-
two most entitled children on the planet.
Is that because that's you?
My husband and I
You
we're
do
having a little
everything.
meeting with them this weekend. We're gonna
Gotta
just talk.
cut
about
that
Yeah,
umbilical
the family
cord, I've
meeting
been telling
is
you.
critical.
Cut
it's,
it.
It's critical.
Yeah.
We do it at our house, and we make it as fun as possible. My kids love, first of all, they love presenting, especially young kids. They love having the floor, so to speak.
Yeah.
You get them like a fake mic or something, they're like at it.
Of course.
And then like we do like a little board, and we write on that, and we do our external goals and our internal goals. So what are you working on? You know, we're working on it, right? What are you working on? So my daughter will say, you know, I'm working on trying not to get mad at my brother when he's like making me mad, and I'm trying to like take a breath. So that's something I'm working on internally. And then externally, I'm working on this, you know, like taking care of my Tamagotchi or like whatever, I don't know, whatever she's working on there. But those family meetings, if you can like pump them up, you know, and make them fun for the kids. So doing it maybe like at a dinner if they like to go out to dinner, you know, some kids like love to go out to dinner. I don't know. My kids are whatever, but like, or doing it at a park or at a picnic or, you know, just like taking the family meeting, because it's just like, oh, mom's doing the family meeting now, you know, like that's how people want to come in. No one wants to come to that meeting.
No,
I don't even want to go
I
to
don't
that
wanna
meeting.
go to that meeting.
No
No, I
one wants to
agree.
show up because mom's got a list. She's pissed. She's been taken advantage of, and she's ready to slay.
And they know
like you're
that
saying.
exactly.
And so yes,
Namaste,
and so they
there
step
it
into
is.
that energy, and everyone's like, "Oh shit! Like I don't want to come in here." Especially your man. He's
Right.
like, "I do not. I know."
No, that's like
about to
Dante's
happen here."
Inferno when
yes.
that happens.
It's
Like
the
much
worst.
like this room.
Yeah,
It's the
exactly.
worst. It's the worst. So making
boy.
them fun, and even doing, you know, I do. I always say I would do family meetings, personal family meetings with my husband. You know, I say, well, there's meeting schedule at 8:00 in the bedroom. I hope that you're ready because I'll be dressed, ready to go.
There you
And
go.
he's always on time. You know, that's the funny thing. And then you connect and you chat and you figure out a plan and you work together and you say, you know, I need this masculine energy for these things to go down, because men are very analytical, solution oriented. they will come up with some amazing things that you would have never thought of.
Agreed.
And once you start like seeing that, not only it makes your husband more sexy because you're seeing he's
Oh, let's not
adding,
get carried
and
away. No,
that's-
I'm only kidding.
but it heightens up the partnership work
Agreed.
together, and that could be, you know, maybe your man isn't super into the bedroom meetings. I don't know. I mean, I could just be speaking personally, but maybe you do a meeting at the batting cages if he likes that, or something where it's like, you know, we need to talk, we need to have a connection, but let's do it on a playing field that feels good for the both
Right,
of us,
right.
and kind of figuring that out and doing that little due diligence work. And as women, we could tell you, we could find somebody on Google in 2 seconds and find out their whole life story and
Yes,
who they
we
are,
can.
if they did your friend wrong. Like, we will come in like the vigilantes you have never seen.
This is true.
But take 5 minutes on figuring out where your husband will have the best meeting booth. And we're like, I don't know, I don't care, I can't fit. This is-
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, that's why we say we learn from each other, you know. And what's so funny is Rob and I are like the complete opposite. We just need some snuggle time. Like, if we're not snuggling, then something's wrong. You know what I mean? So we just like snuggle, and that snuggle is like important to us because we remember a time where there wasn't a dog and there wasn't a baby,
Right.
and we
Right.
just had, you know, relaxation time on the couch or whatever it is. But
Yeah.
like, I love going over to Allison's house because her house is like so organized, and I'm like, wow, this is what an organized house looks like.
Yes.
You know?
See, but I think it's cool that you don't feel less than because of that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us go through the things like a simple thing like applying to colleges, because my son is a junior now, and this summer is the whole college application.
Right.
And you talk to other mothers, and by the end of the conversation, I
feel like
literally want
garbage.
to just
Yeah.
impale myself
Yeah.
because I am such a poorly, you know,
But you're giving them
focused
love,
child,
and
mother.
your kids feel so loved by you and supported, and like,
Can
you know.
come home with me?
I will.
No, I do. You feel so inadequate when you are faced in different situations because you're like,
It's so true.
But
What?
you never really know
And
what
then one
goes
little
on
comment
in
from a
closed
mom.
oh, and
doors.
it's your whole. It's like walking into a room when you think you look really beautiful, and then you walk into a room and you run out because you're like, look at everybody else, and that's
Yeah.
a terrible feeling
It
to
is.
feel.
It's the
And
worst.
I think motherhood does that
Yeah.
to you.
It can.
But
It can
com-
do it in 2 seconds. It can strip you down in about 2 seconds.
But,
Yes.
but
It really
comparison
can.
energy, though, and this is one thing I really want to break down through this conference, is when we do the comparison thing, then we automatically put ourselves down.
Yes.
Okay? And what we want to do is, as women, is we want to rise together.
Yeah.
So we don't want to
Right.
be pulling each other
Like
down
I say,
or
fix some
ourselves
other
down.
another woman's crown without letting everybody else know.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you don't need to go
Exactly.
in and put. So if Suki comes in and she's, you know, saying, "Oh, you're," you know, I don't want to be like, "Well, of course," because everything's like, you know, you just have to be a shit about it. Like, you need to just, if somebody asks you if they're doing something different, like, let them be. Let them, like,
Right.
stay in your lane of what you do well. And if
Exactly.
a woman comes to you for advice, like, if a woman came to me for advice on, like, I don't know, is Zen, so I think I'd be like, oh, I know Siki, she's great, she's a great resource.
Right.
But if they're asking me, like, how do you get things aligned with your man again and things are off, I'm like, I'm your girl because
Right.
I have been through this work and I don't live a fake life. This is how I live and I've been through this.
Right.
But I will not preach to somebody unless I'm at 110% availability to tell
Right,
them advice.
right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what women run into is we ask advice of people who don't even
Are
have
not
what
equipped.
we want.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we listen, and it's like the blind leading the blind. And then Sally's got the same problem too, and then Amber does too.
Well, and then
We're
you
all
have
just
all
start
these
bitching.
opinions,
And then we
it's-
start
yeah.
bitching.
And no
Exactly.
solution.
No
yes.
solution.
And then we go home to our man with that.
And then
bet.
piss,
Like,
piss.
what
yeah,
happened?
Yeah.
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 But honor the other woman, and if there's something
Right.
about her that you like, then think about it within yourself.
Right.
Like, what is it about me that I emulate in that?
Right.
Like, what can I do better for myself? And it's always
Yeah.
about what can you do better for you, because really, like,
It's
at
true.
the end of the day, it's about you.
It
know?
is.
It's all about.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we forget as moms, that really it is about us from the core.
I always ask myself this question: is that person in my bed at night? Then I
No.
need to think about what I'm listening to right now. Because if
Exactly.
you're not in my bed and you're not in my home and you ain't in this moment with my kid, then I don't know. I gotta filter in what I'm taking in.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
always tell my friends, I'm like, it's really easy to Monday morning quarterback. Game
Yeah.
is over and you got the whole 24 hours to
Yeah.
figure out. I said, so when you ask somebody, make sure you're asking somebody who really gets what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I could tell you anything you need to know about health and diaper rash, because that's my jam.
Right.
You know?
Right.
You know, I honestly can't tell you things like how to manage a teen, because I'm trying to do that right now.
Right.
Right.
I'm learning as we go.
Yeah.
You know? But I bet you in 5 years from now, I'll be able to sit and give you a whole dissertation on how to manage a teen. I
Isn't that
hope.
the cool thing about motherhood, though? Is we're always kind of learning
Yes,
as we go.
as
mean,
we go.
you
Every
know?
day.
I
Every
mean,
day.
that minute the baby's handed to you in the hospital, and you're just, whoa, okay. What am
I
I doing?
remember the first time I brought my first son home. and he was a preemie, so he was born at 29 weeks. So it was a long haul in the hospital, and then we brought him home, and we brought him home. My husband drove home like 10 miles an hour. It took like 3 hours to get home, and we get home, and he's like, "Okay, I have to go to work. I'll see you later."
Yeah.
And I just looked at him. I'm like, "We're gonna be all right."
No.
And I just prayed all day that I didn't drop him or forget about him. That's
Right.
all I cared about. And then
What
I
a
fed
beautiful
him.
moment.
Yeah, and I remember that all the time. I
Yeah.
remember that all the time. I'm like, I could do this. We're going to be all right. And when I get really upset with him, I just look at him, I go, and I tell him the same story.
Yeah.
And he's like, Mom.
No,
I'm like, no, but seriously.
No,
I
that's
said,
so
you know,
sweet.
See,
But-
yeah.
sometimes I still feel like that girl, like, oh my God, I have this brand new premature thing. What am I doing? You
Yeah.
know? It's really a tough,
Yeah.
it's a tough role.
I literally wailed when my husband went back to work.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember him walking out and the car drove away, and I was just like, what am I doing?
Exactly.
Like, I'm doing this by myself.
It's
like,
true.
You know?
Nightmares the entire time.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But girls, I want to thank you so much for coming. This is going to be
Thank
so
you.
awesome. We're going to put everything on your page, on our page about you guys and this conference. I am so excited for you.
Thanks so much for having us.
I know, but
Thank
you have to come on again. You
Yeah,
definitely have to
absolutely.
come on
We
again.
will.
Absolutely.
We will.
Yeah.
Cool beans.
We'll
Have
give you
Anya,
hot-
have
hot
Anya come
tips
on
and,
too.
and all.
Yeah.
And if you think of any questions or anything, leave comments
on our
on our
page,
page,
and
and
we
we'll
will
make
get
sure to
back
get them answered.
All right, ladies, gentlemen, we are so happy you tuned in. We will see you next Monday at 7 o'clock. Have a great week.
rest of the week. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for joining the Two Broads from Boca. You can see us live every Monday at 7 p.m. on Facebook. See you next week, and remember, keep it classy, sassy, and a little smartassy.